Welcome to the final match of the Pokemon Regional Championship Cologne. More than 700 masters all gathered here to see who is the best of them all. We are down to 2 players left. The legendary, a lot of people say he's the strongest player in the world, Todd Reklev against another legend, Sander. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce his last name.
Wojcik.
But Sander, he is the master of stall and lock decks. There is no one like him. He never plays, at least from what I know, he never plays a normal deck. All of his decks are some kind of control, some kind of stall deck. So this will be the clash of the titans. Will Todd's very new, very interested deck be able to take this win, or will Sander be able to prevent him from doing all of this and just lock him out of the competition?
Todd has been on the hunt for a regional win a lot longer than people think. Like, he's won ICs, like nothing. He just turns up and says, it's an IC, I'll win it, it's fine. Regionals, he's somehow never won. He's won specials. He's obviously won challenges and cups.
I hope so.
At least I think he's won a challenge. I actually can't remember now I think about it. I assume so. But never a regional. So this is big for him. And Sander consistently hits these top 8 spots. Consistently converts. Winning, it's another matter. It's like both of these players are right on the line, and like could be a big moment for both of them. It's going to be an interesting matchup because I actually spoke to both players separately before this, going, so how does the matchup go? And they were like, don't know, gonna see. I was like, oh dear. That means we haven't got a hope.
Well,
but
I will
we'll
not go too deep into the whole thing about this, but I'm looking forward to an interesting match. Of course, most people don't really enjoy watching stall too much, but on the other hand, Todd's deck need to be prepared for everything. We chatted with Todd a little bit after his win, and he said, well, I just made the deck, and it's still like kind of a lot of theoretical stuff. I never tested too much yet. So for Todd, probably a first time. I think they ID'd in Swiss.
Yep, they did. We can go over to the game actually to have a look at the prize cards. I think Todd is more or less set up. Double weakness guard, probably not an issue. Don't think he's going to get attacked anytime soon.
Yeah.
But 2 energy prize is actually already awkward.
Well,
3 energy prize.
But before we go into the game, I think there is a giveaway.
Yeah, there is. So, for the last couple of rounds, we've had €5 vouchers, courtesy of our sponsors, Card Market. To enter, you basically just say who you think is going to win, hashtag right player, hashtag left player on who you think is going to win. And this time, we're going to raise the stakes. £10 voucher, a €10 voucher.
Yes.
Right, we were high stakes for these guys, high stakes for you guys. Let's get into the game. You guys can get voting away, see who's going to win. We will close the entry about 5 minutes into the first game because could be double donk.
Well,
that'd be really sad,
let's
right?
hope that doesn't happen.
We know who's going to win. This sucks.
Yes.
So we want to make it interesting for you guys as they get underway.
And here we go. Ooh. We see the handshake. Sander opening with his Mary. We can see both players' prize cards. Well, I think there is nothing too crazy.
Nothing particularly annoying. The energy count for Todd is a bit worrying because he's not playing that many Psychic. He's also not playing... the weakness guard is not a problem. But it's going to be kind of frustrating for him to have to get energy out of the discard. Does also weirdly mean he might be able to take a prize, draw into another energy after Sander discards one, attaches, and can take another prize. So actually not the worst thing in a store matchup to have some energy prized. But meanwhile, Sander underway with a Mareep in the active position.
Yeah, Mareep, a very interesting card. Every time your Oranguru or your active Pokemon gets knocked out, you can just promote the Mareep. The ability says if it's active, you can put your opponent's Pokemon to sleep. And then he uses the, how's it called again? Well, he uses a tool card that gives you 1 retreat less and then is able to retreat Mareep into the Oranguru. But we see him opening his turn with the preferred supporter card in this deck, Professor Elm. Such a strong card.
Yeah, straight away, most decks play Welder because you can attach to draw 3. This is like, right, I want to get my whole bench ready in 1 because I can get my Pidgeys. They're all below 60 HP. My Ditto, in case I want to be flexible, because he's not just playing the evolution lines of Pidgeotos. This, as we saw in the last round, and because it's Sander, is not just your traditional stall version. He takes his own spin on it. And he's playing a slightly different count of evolved Pokemon, including a 1-off Weezing. He's probably not going to be looking to evolve it. It just means he's more flexible in general.
Well, the wheezing is for his Jesse and James.
Yeah, so this is the thing. Is like not many lists are playing the Jesse and James. It's actually a card that received a lot of hype before the set, but then didn't really do much.
Well, the thing is, I think the concerns were mostly about Expanded.
Yeah.
Because in Expanded you can do so much stuff with your opponent's hand. But let's not focus too much on Expanded.
So Oranguru, Girafarig. So start lost zoning some things. That is concerning for Tord because he wants to put the Solgaleo into the discard pile to always have energy to attack, and use the Girafarig to lost zone 2 Solgaleo, and I think it's a bit scary if you're Tord.
I think neither of these players are entirely sure how this whole matchup is going to run like, but if you just look at the list and think a little bit about it, the very first thing you that comes to your mind is probably, well, with Perfection you can use Solgaleo and then you just loop Solgaleo, just try to get as many energy cards in play. But of course then I can just use Get Lost, kind of rude actually to tell your opponent Solgaleos to get into the Lost Zone, and then Mutant Mew aren't able to copy that attack, so then from that point onward your energy stick. However, Tord actually plays, this is very interesting, he plays 2 Solgaleo GX, so he will get at least 2 attacks out of it, and that will allow him to attach a lot of energy into play, and that might even be enough.
Have you seen how many energy he's currently got in hand?
A bunch of them, but I mean, to be fair, if they're in the discard pile, then you can use Solgaleo to attach them, so I don't think it's too bad to discard them now, but because like the sender just wants you to run out of, like, not out of energy in your deck entirely, but if you have no energy on field, then he can use Chip Chip X to prevent you from drawing into any more.
Yeah,
so
but
you need to just stack up as many as fast as possible,
but
I think.
That is the crazy thing with this list, is if you look at the, like, we have the list in front of us, there's a lot more one-offs and, like, unconventional cards in here. So he's playing the U-turn board, he's playing Sky Pillar, he's got a Jesse and James, 1 Hapu, 1 Faber, and 1 Chip Chip Axe.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, playing 1 is fine. Like, it's very important for you to get rid of all the energy first. So the Chip Chip Axe is just when you have the very, very strong board already set up, then you can start, like, putting it to work. And at that point, your deck should already be quite thin. So I think, like, you can get away with 1. Of course, it's an important card. You want to have access to it, especially maybe your opponent draws not so well at the beginning of the game. Then of course it's very strong. But I think in this deck he plays Lieutenant Surge and then also the Jesse James. So with Mars and then Jesse James, together with Weezing, he can discard a lot of hand cards. So I think, and then like then at that point it doesn't matter too much what your opponent draws. He also plays Power Plant, so he can deny Tord most of his drawing options because, well, his only way to get out of it is Hapu and then Welder. If he draws neither of them, then he loses. So the Chip Chip X might not be too crucial here. However, Senna now opening again.
Another realm.
Professor M. This is a dream.
And for decks of old, you wanted the first turn Bridget to go and get your basics onto the bench ready to evolve for the next turn. Could you imagine if you could then just go, yeah, but hang on, I want to do it again, but basically to get all the evolved forms? You cool with that? Because I'm not cool with that. That seems rude. Because these Pidgeys only have 60 HP each. Does make them pretty fragile. We actually saw this during the World Championships, where we had the big cross-divided GX to take out many. But as we already saw, the scan was up on the screen earlier, the one of Sky Pillar can prevent that on key turns. So instead, we have triple Pidgey and in play. So what we do have now is Sander going to be able to motor through this deck. He's with the email ability to draw a card and put one on, well, draw 2, and basically have a look at 2, put 1 on the top, one in the hand, 1 on the bottom.
Yeah, it's like draw 1, but better.
Yeah, because you actually have choice, and then you're not. It's also like an acrobike, but better again because you're not just throwing the card away. So it's a really strong ability and balanced out on a very fragile Pokemon. Does mean that if Tord does get to cross divide, though, with all the energy, he can take 3 prize cards.
Oh, so here we see the Girafarig already attacking quite fast. So the U-turn board allowing
could
what's
be
the name again?
huge.
Marip?
Yeah, the Marip.
Marip to retreat very easily. Now Giraffe very active. He only has one Giraffe figure in deck, but I mean, you have resource management. You can get as many as you want, so why not just start getting rid of the energy out of the discard pile early? Mewtwo staying asleep is super important here, because it prevents Todd from just very easily going into Solgaleo and then trying to charge up. He only plays one switch, so now he can't attack. This gives Sander another turn to just put Fire Energy card into the Lost Zone.
Yeah, and until at least Todd takes a prize, which is not going to be happening for a little while from the looks of it, just because, you know, the Mewtwo in the active position is stuck, he can't now use the Espeon Deoxys or any of his Psychic attackers, because that was his other Psychic energy. The other one's prized, the one's now in the Lost Zone. There's no way for him to get to this Cross Divide GX without taking prize cards first. It seems likely over the course of the game you tend to do that versus Storm, but it doesn't mean his Mewtwo has to wake up, which it does.
Oh, but I mean,
the turn was
it
pretty
did wake
poor.
up now, so basically nothing happened. Pretty sure, like maybe Tord has something like well, and Ascend. Ascend is also pretty big. First of all, Sander, of course, use the Air Maze first, see what's there before you make your big decisions, since it can give you a lot of outs. Lieutenant Surge is no option right now, but that's actually like nothing Sander's probably thinking too much about. Currently, he just wants to get his deck as thin as possible, get as many hand cards as he can possibly get. There are 2 reset stamps in Tord's deck, but currently it's not that much of a threat since Sander has 6 prize cards. And here we go, Mars.
Yeah, Mars hits the Reds challenge. A card that we've seen Tord use very nicely throughout the course of the tournament to grab like the exact one out that he needed at any given time. Discarding that, making it even less likely for him to get the cards he needs. Sander's playing quick, oh my.
Yes, he wants that win. When we see Crushing Hammer heads,
oh, that's huge.
This is really hurting a lot.
Well, it's already at the point where Tord clearly has a slightly dead hand. It's like the game we had yesterday with Pidgey to control.
No, I don't actually think that Tord's hand is dead. I just thought he didn't play anything because he had, I think, a pretty good hand. Or am I wrong? Well, I might be wrong as well. I thought I thought there was the Welder and also the Solgaleo in his hand. But, well, the Solgaleo is definitely in his hand, so he will be able to discard it now.
Yeah.
Let's see what he is also eyeing up for.
He's a Greninja player.
Well, Greninja GX doesn't really allow him to outplay anything here, so I'm pretty sure he's just happy for that too.
Yeah, he's just going to throw that away.
Everyone else in the Lost Zone. But there are no Pokemon in Todd's discard pile, and no matter what, like, he really needs to knock out on that Giraffe right now.
Yeah, until he gets to the K on the Giraffe, that Giraffe is just going to turn by turn take an energy away from him, and for as long as it does that, eventually he's going to get to a point where all the energy can't even be recovered with the Solgaleo. Like, Sander will go, oh, it's fine, you just put the Solgaleo in the discard pile, there's nothing it can do. I might Lost Zone that later if I have time, because the Giraffe is not going anywhere right now. The Sleep flips and the Crushing Hammer flips are really big towards just sending the Nincada, basically.
Yeah, so Tord using Pokemon Communication shuffle back his Naga GX, getting Nincada in play.
Should Ninja just 30, right, anywhere?
It puts, no, only on the active.
Only on active, okay.
Well, if it puts anywhere, that would be actually kind of a cool Pokemon to attack with, but...
I sent it to the active, okay. Okay, so there we go.
Yeah, so
Solgaleo's there. Okay, so now it's okay.
Yeah, so he got the Solgaleo, so pretty much a perfect turn for him. He also got the reset stamp, so that might be something you want to consider. The opponent's hand is probably pretty big, but then also, well, it's a card less you have in your hand, so for your opponent it's easier to maybe get a Mars on another crucial card. Yeah, just going for energy active, using his Stadium card to discard Latios GX, not really important as well.
Yeah, I think he wants to try and keep his hand as big as possible to mean the valuable cards that he has in it later in the game are easier to dodge with the Mars if Xander wants to go for that this turn. It also means that kind of just accruing the good cards means that when he does get hit by the combo of reset stamp into the hand lock, every time they play the Crushing Hammer, it's kind of fine because the Isaac, sorry, it's probably fine because if you only have good cards in deck because you saved them all in your hand earlier, you're kind of okay because you're more likely to have your opponent look at the top 3 cards of your deck and go, I don't want you to take any of them. Now we're stuck. So there's kind of a merit to just kind of getting all the good cards in your hand, maybe not even playing that many of them, just kind of committing as little as possible to deal with the board. and then kind of eventually going, okay, right, they're all in my deck now. I can draw my good cards.
All right, so Sander just, still going through his deck, playing Poker Gear first to thin it out, and then using Airmail to grab even more cards. Such a powerful ability. I really like it.
It's basically trade, but in a weird way.
Yeah,
if like you see 2 cards, you just don't get to keep both, but you don't discard anything.
Yeah, you don't discard anything, so your hand becomes quite big, really fast. And now Sander, he was able to draw a card. He actually has Articuno in his hand, and Faber. Faber is pretty nice. Like it allows you to get the energy active, the active energy into the lost zone, but I'm not really sure if that's too relevant. He will definitely use Mareep. So let's see if he actually decides to use his Articuno. And it looks like he does.
Yeah, I think he just wants to deal with that energy.
Yeah, and once this energy actually doesn't, like putting the special energy in the lost zone doesn't really matter because there's nothing interacts with special energy cards from the discard pile. And he hit a Hapu, so that Hapu also kind of hurts, I think, because at the moment you kind of want to be aggressive. But maybe there is a Wilder in his hand. Who knows? But with no energy left on the active...
I don't think he had any energy left in his deck or fire energy left. He only took 1 off the Giant Hearth last turn.
Well, there are 6 energy in play, and I think he plays 8, right? So there should be 2 somewhere. And I don't think, I think he only attacked with the... Wait, did he put 2 fire energy in the lost zone? I actually forgot if he attacked once or twice with Giraffe. I think he attacked twice with Giraffe.
Yeah.
So there should be 2 fire energy in the lost zone.
Yeah. I think he might be at the point where now he's basically out of the fire energy entirely, which means that even if he has Weldeds, they're not doing anything. And this game looks like he has 1 Mewtwo on the bench that's stuck, and kind of it. Okay, that one. Okay, great. 1 fire energy.
Yeah, and then Todd's deck, of course, there's no Fire Crystal, no way to get the Fire Energy back except for Turbo Strike.
Yeah, he's like half of a Wilder deck in that sense. He's not playing the full Fire Energy package, but instead just attach, pass, and here come the Crushing Hammers. If this is a head, this is huge.
Ouch.
It is. So that's
goes for heads. Now he just needs to get the Articuno back to the bench, use Eranguru, put just more Crushing Hammers at this point, I think. Maybe even put the Giraffe already in the discard pile, but I don't really think it does too much. Once the Fire Energy from the bench Mewtwo, once these 2 Fire Energy from the bench Mewtwo are gone, it's not looking good for Tord. Especially since there are 2 energy in his prize card, so we know he only has 1 Water Energy. I think that's... Wait, let me count again. 2, 4, 5, 7 energy.
He took the Psychic from the prize, so he has a Psychic in hand that he hasn't played yet. That's so the only one.
I think he has a Psychic and a Fire Energy somewhere. So there's a Fire Energy somewhere, but for the center it's still very just important to get some hammers down, start attacking a little bit. So we see a Steven, very cool card as well. You can search your deck for any 3 cards, but then you can't attack. But at the beginning stages where you're still just trying to get your opponent down, and you're also your own deck cards down, it's pretty nice since you don't really need to do resolve management. Yeah,
the second Recycle Energy was in there.
But Tord just immediately going for the reset.
He's like, no, go away. There's too many.
And now this might be the last D-Den, and we see, the Water Energy is in the deck, but...
I don't see anything else.
I think there's no energy left.
Yeah, there's
only
1 water.
So Tord needs to draw the switch.
Yeah.
So Tord is in all-in mode. Will he be able to...
Yeah, you attach and you just hope for this switch, right?
Is he be able to attack with Flare Strike Perfection? He did get it.
He gets it,
That's
okay.
pretty sweet.
Okay, so now we're still in a game. Because this 120 is pretty relevant.
Without the switch, it would be quite likely for Senna just to play some stuff, get some Crushing Hammers off. Now, Tord is still in the game, so...
Yep, 120 to the active Articuno. Setting it up, I think it's 170 HP, I believe. So...
Well, I'm not sure if that's too relevant,
no, but
yeah, sure.
It means that there are options in terms of attacks. But yeah, I think Sander's first priority in terms of energy will be that Psychic Energy, if he can kick 1 energy off. Well, ideally he wants to take 1 off the active and then 1 off the Psychic one. so they can't continue to accelerate energy. Because he does also, at this point, I assume, know Tord's deck list fairly accurately in knowing that he has only the one switch. So he knows that that's gone. So at this point, if he just takes energy off the Mewtwo, that Mewtwo's stuck. It's not going anywhere. As two retreat cost, there's no energy left for him to attach. And that's kind of going to be it. So second recycle energy.
Oh, that's an interesting play. So you need to pay 2 to retreat the Articuno. Often you can just let it get knocked out. Like, it's not too important. But this Mary flip will also be quite important. So a lot of coin flips. But these are these kind of decks where you flip so many coins that at the end of the day it's like kind of evens out. But
unless you're Tord, in which case it feels like it's all going against you. Lots of sleep flips have gone against him. The crushing hammer flips so far have mostly felt like they've been heads.
Yeah, definitely not something. And he just goes back, and so Sander just won a whole turn with this fluffy pillow Mary. Such a crucial card.
Yeah, a card that's also seen playing a few other weird decks, but really finding a home here with the U-turn board attached to it. Sander not playing things like the escape board, which like the default switching option. I mean, like the U-turn is like, no, I can just get this back.
Well,
because
U-turn board in this deck is so strong. It's almost like it was made for just for this single situation.
Oh, there it is.
And we see a crushing hammer head. Very important. Let's see if the second one is also head. That could seal up this game. I was just saying this could seal up the game, but this probably seals the game, right?
I don't really see how Tord ever wins from here. Because all the energy's on the bench, not where he needs it to be. He has no switching option available to him. What do you do?
Well, there is one Psychic in the Lost Zone. I'm pretty sure there should be a Fire in the Lost Zone. There was actually one turn where I kind of forgot what the Giraffaric put in there.
I think it's 2 Fire and a Psychic.
Yeah, it should be 2 Fire Psychic and then the Charizard and someone else.
Yeah.
But however, all energy on Tord's deck, like the 2 are in the prize cards, and one of the like the third weakness guard energy is also in the discard pile. Then you have all fire
so it's like,
and
thanks for
psychic
waking up
energy
now.
Are gone. So Tord only has this one energy left.
It's like, go, please help.
Yeah, but there's not a lot that he can actually do with that. So
No.
I mean, but Sander actually doesn't know this, so for Sander.
Well, he doesn't know that there's 2 energy in the prizes, right? Like, he'll know his energy count, but he doesn't know there's 2 in the prize. So he's going to have to keep playing as if those 2 weakness guard energy is still in deck and just haven't been found yet.
Yeah, and then Tord also, he probably knows that he can't do too much now, but I'm not entirely sure how much. Actually, like you say, Sander probably knows Tord's deck, but I don't think he knows the exact count.
No. So really interesting decision play there to play the Elm deliberately for no effect to shuffle, because he put the 2 Crushing Hammers and the Chip Chip Ice Axe on the bottom, but he probably wants to draw into these now to start getting the lock actually established. I mean, it already kind of is because there's no energy left, but by establishing it now and like shuffling.
These are actually my dice.
Yeah, we should probably apologize after this.
Yeah, I will. So another resource management, eyeing up to Crushing Hammer, and also Mars. The Mars is just
you might as well start getting rid of this hand, right?
Yeah, on the one hand, and then on the other hand, it just makes your deck thinner. So currently, he always needs to shuffle to actually go to the bottom. So if he draws into Mars, he will be very fast to just get rid of his deck. So yeah, just start from there. Todd is actually thinking about scooping or
I
just
think that's the consideration, isn't it?
Yeah, checking his Lost Zone again, also confirming for us it is actually 1 fire, 1 psychic.
Yeah, the deck's thin enough now. Let Sander every turn could just get whatever cards he wants.
And pass. So yeah, I think at this point the game is over.
Yeah, I think Tord's not going to scoop here though, because he knows that really it's close enough that like he can give it another couple of turns, see if Sander maybe makes some form of mistake somewhere along the lines that he can capitalize on.
And also, if you just play this out, so with stall, like you can just play this out, and then you win the second game, and then the third game, if it goes into a timeout situation, then you're usually on the upper hand.
Yeah.
So you're not allowed to play any slower, or you're not allowed to stall, but you can play this game out. So
yeah, you might as well play it out, because it just then means that you can get to the point where He's like, oh yeah, there's a Wojcik, cool, great, 2 more cards from my hand, as we see the Jesse James. But he might get to the point where, yeah, he can get a quick, like, turn 1, turn 2 win in game 2. He's the one that is more likely to take prize cards in a timeout.
Yeah, these kind of situations are really annoying for Sander because now he needs to play really fast, but also he shouldn't do a mistake. So from Sander's point of view, he doesn't really know too much of what Tor's options are from here. He probably doesn't know how many. I would assume my opponent to play 2-switch, to be honest. So maybe he thinks there is still one left. But Tor just going for the next game. Like
let's just enough of that. That wasn't really going anywhere. Let's pack that one in and try again.
Yeah, because
he had a slow start.
Yeah, but then also if he continues to play, of course it will turn down the timer, but also it will just reveal Sander a lot of cards. He can use chip bags every turn, so he will always see one and then shuffle the other 2 bags. So he will just see 3 random cards from Todd's deck every turn, and then he will probably figure out most of the deck already. So this might also be something Todd wants to avoid, but here we are, game 2. Sander is already up 1. Will Todd be able to turn this around?
Well, this very much depends on the first couple of turns, because what we saw from Sander last game was, okay, he's only playing 4 copies of the Elm, sure, but having 2 back-to-back last game were huge. Because it just goes, right, cool, Pidgeys, Dittos, Pidgeotos. I'm drawing my deck. And that is a start that's very hard to come back from, no matter what deck you're playing against, because suddenly they have more options than you do, and this deck excels when it has access to half of the deck for options. Todd also had a sort of slowish start. He couldn't really get the Solgaleo online immediately and start attacking. He also lost the Psychic Energy very early, where he was probably looking for a quick, cheap win by just going cross-divide. Right, cool. Take out a couple of Pidgeys before you're ready. And there's ways back into this game, but it's very much dependent on a little bit of luck of the draw, effectively, on this first couple of turns of, do we see Sander hit that double Elm opening like he did last time? Can Todd at least get some attacks going before then and take a couple of prize cards? Because once Todd can take a couple, he's always threatening if he can get the Espeon in the discard pile on the right turns. Like, he might want to kind of keep it in deck. This is something that we'll probably see him do here, is not Cherish Ball for it early, keep it in deck to Giant Hearth it the turn he wishes to play it.
Yes.
And in doing so, prevents the Girafarig.
I mean, also, he can just bench it, I think. Because
it's probably safe on the bench too, actually.
He usually has some like unusable stuff on the bench as well.
Yeah.
But it has more than 1 retreat, right?
I think it has like 2.
Yeah, so it's actually kind of a risky card to put down
he can just
on the
attack
bench,
with it.
but it really depends. Yeah, it really depends on the game situation. But like we already said, now Tord needs the heart of the draw. Will the heart of the cards be on his side or not? Sander definitely had it in the very first game, granting him to Professor Elm right from the start. Game number 2. Sander didn't get basic Pokemon first.
I mean, there's a couple of Mewtwo's in those prize cards. That's not really a problem. They're probably not getting knocked out anytime soon.
Well,
so
yeah,
if you can start with 1, you're probably quite happy.
Yeah, he still has access to 2. I mean, that's the reason you play 4. So you can start with it quite often, and even if you price 1 or 2, you still get use of the rest. And then, especially in Todd stacks, because he plays the Shedinya, he might actually use 3 Mewtwo's just in 1 game.
Yeah.
So having access to that, pretty nice. Prize cards coming down from Sander. His
one
board is prize.
That's actually huge, especially starting that Mareep. That Mareep's active.
One of the cards that actually won him, he started with it again. I think Tord does not like this.
This looks very similar to last game. Very similar.
Kind of.
Also, that one Psychic Energy being priced for Tord again. So I actually had a chat with him about his game yesterday, and they said that the biggest regret he has, or like the thing that he'd change, is he'd be cutting the Water Energy and the Shedinja, the Greninja, to be able to maybe put another Psychic Energy and something else in. He's not sure what the other thing is yet, because he said in many games you wind up prizing one, only having 1 left, and if that one gets knocked out because it's the only attachment you can make on it a given turn, you just lose so many options.
This is actually pretty important for Sander. Like
the Solgaleo's
in very quickly, discarding 2 energy. One of them special energy. This is now just gone. The Solgaleo is already in the discard pile, so Sander can do some shenanigans with Girafarig again, and also fire energy in the discard pile. Water energy is also hit the discard pile. Not really important in this matchup. It's just like an energy. It's like a nothing too important here.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the Marshadow in the active has a fire energy on it. Can attack for Red Knuckles for 10. Not going to. But
yeah, probably not. I mean,
there's no
if there is nothing else, then you can do right. But you probably just retreat it and then use reset hold.
Yeah.
Or maybe just actually leave it in play because it has one retreat cost just like the Dene. So if it's on the bench, there is no difference between a Mouth Shadow and a Dene. But if he keeps it, then he might be able to use it to get rid of a power plant.
Yeah, he'll probably keep it try and keep it around as long as possible because if Sander does get a power plant down and has some of his lock options, there's just no way for Tord out of that. You know, if he can keep him from drawing the stadium and kind of control the draws well enough to stop the stadium coming in, then you're in trouble. We see a Giant Hearth discarding the Makago. Probably not going to be using the Makago anytime soon.
Well, I mean, in theory, Makago can throw the game over, right? Like, your opponent is down.
Oh, you have to go thin. Yeah, you have to go thin.
Very often with Chip X, but then on the other hand, it's super unlikely to actually be able to pull that off.
Yeah, it's probably going to get lost zoned before
well, not necessarily, because sometimes, like, Sander's bench was actually full last game.
Yep.
So, and I don't think Tord's Makago was in the discard pile, so maybe that was even what Tord was thinking about, like, maybe I can just stay and play long enough, but he had no fire energy left, so.
Oh, he got the Elm. He gets the Elm on the
Pokegear,
yeah.
Professor Elm. That's such a strong combo. I actually I really like Pigeon. This combo is super strong.
Yeah.
Really likely for you. 4 off is usually like 40% on your starting hand, something like that. And then Pokegear also just that stacks up to get the Elm, and then once you have an Elm, if you have nothing else, you can just go for 2 Pidgey and then 1 Pidgey auto, and then the 1 Pidgey auto you get the next turn can try to draw you into something, and if you know, well, I have access to another Elm, you can just go through 3 Pidgey, auto Pidgey, and Ditto. And Xander currently checking his price card.
I think I saw another Elm in hand, so he might even be able to do it again. Back-to-back double Elms.
Yikes.
Which, okay, Tord's in a slightly better state than last game, because he can just retreat, attach. He would like another Mewtwo down to attach to, but, you know, he just wants to get out. Okay, he has to make sure he survives the coin flip for the sleep again. But, you know, might be able to take a knockout, get something set up, start kind of looping energy around in such a way that he can kind of take a couple of knockouts. But, yeah, this is telling him immediately that that probably is another Elm in that hand, because that's 2 Pidgeys and a Ditto.
Yeah, but also, I mean, like you said, there's only 50-50 chance that Tord will actually be able to attack next turn unless he gets his wood. And then also maybe Xander even gets a Crushing Hammer down, then Tord would need a Weld on top of that. So let's see what Xander's hands look like now.
Sleep.
And we see the fluffy pillow putting Marshadow to sleep. Good night.
And the pass. That's a big flip.
That's a big relief for Tord. And he
has the energy.
Fire energy, also the Dana to draw into stuff. He actually had the switch in hand.
Yeah, so he already had it. Now,
this is actually super annoying because...
do you want to Dede change that now because you've got your one-off switch? I don't know if you do. Like, you just start attaching to the Dene, no, because then it's in the wrong place and it needs to go to exactly the active.
Yeah, but then on the other hand, there's nothing you can then attach the energies to, so... you're forced to attach when you use Soul Burst, so you have to attach to either Marshadow or the Dedenne. But let's see, he uses Pokemon. Yeah, you can use Pokemon Communication to shuffle the Dedenne in and then get a Mewtwo instead out, so he can retreat. Then there are 2 fire in the discard pile, attach active, use Soul Burst, and then this game is going. This is exactly what Tord
Strike
can.
Soul Burst is the old one.
True, yeah.
I
mean Turbo Strike. Yeah. 2 colorless, 120 damage. 2 energy cards from your discard pile onto your bench. And let's see.
So
what Xander's next turn is quite important.
Yep.
Because Tord can like maybe overrun the opponent just.
Yep, if you can get the couple of quick knockouts and like ideally take a couple of Pidgeotos out, it's extremely efficient because they need to draw a lot of their cards before they even do anything. And if you can get a couple of turns ahead of them and stop them from drawing all those cards, it becomes very difficult. And like having no Mareep means that now Xander is kind of reliant on other ways of like slowing Tord down.
Yes, exactly. So Mewtwo and Mew here putting Mareep to sleep for good, at least for now, since it can always come back with Oranguru, but not anytime soon. As Connor just said, you want to have as many coin flips as possible that can kind of stall your opponent down, and this 50-50 Mareep that always puts a clock on you, it's just like, well, you can attack, but only if you flip heads. And Crushing Hammer is always like, well, even if you get heads, then your opponent can just attach another one. and especially in this kind of scenario, doesn't have too much. But Sander being, well, I mean, on the one hand, it seems like he's kind of lucky with the amps, but on the other hand, his deck is made to work this way, so it's not too unlikely.
Yep, so triple Pidgeotto was taken on that Elm. He's going to evolve the first ones. Hope basically to see a different Pidgey, because he's like, well, the one in this, if I leave it, if I evolve the active, I'm losing a Pidgeotto and the Pidgey, and that just means that if I Oranguru later, I need to get both of them, re-establish both of them. But since he didn't get them, now he's kind of stuck in a position of like, well, I guess I lose both.
Yeah,
I mean,
the beginning of the game is very crucial for both players. Todd needs to run really hot, and then Sander also kind of has to slow your opponent down at some point as well. So if you don't draw cards, obviously you can't get all the disruption stuff. Without all the disruption stuff, well, you're not really doing anything. So let's see where this is going. Sander not being able to retreat, giving Tord another prize card. So let's see if Tord is able to establish his board even further.
So Giant Hearth straight away. I did see him draw the Espeon Deoxys, I think, for turn there. Which means that, you know, a Welder here and then a Psychic Energy and an attachment next turn means that there's a cross-division GX to take out all the Pidgeottos, which is a play that you like making. Yes, okay, they can be brought back, but that just sets your opponent back a couple more turns, so you can take a few more prize cards whilst they're setting up, and at this point take 3 prize cards at the same time if he gets all of them down.
Yeah, but I think even now, like a cross-divide GX, you need too much energy, so this turn it's not possible, but if you have to invest a lot of it, since it's quite unlikely for Todd to get all the necessary energy to the active Pokemon, because he would need to, Welder active. So Welder's part of the equation, which he doesn't have access to right now. And if he doesn't really want to retreat because he wants to keep his energy. However, in this way, it's a possibility, and it's definitely something to keep in mind. It would get Todd down to only one single prize card. Well, we know this opens up the hole for just Reset Stamp Mars. But he will have like a lot of energy attached to the active at that point, so that might actually be fine.
Over-committing for the Turbo Strike, as it were, on the active. It's like, well, if you do get a Crushing Hammer, you're now going to need 2 heads before I'm in any form of trouble. Sander Pokegears for, I think it was the Jesse James he grabbed from that. Not really what he wanted to play here, because he was looking to be able to play that in combo with the Weezing to get as much value from it as possible, discarding 4 hand cards from the opponent as opposed to the 2 that Jesse James defaults to, as we start getting some mail. First airmail.
Right, so let's see what arrives here. An Acrobike, wow.
I think you take the Acrobike, right?
Yeah, that's pretty nice, because it just makes your decision making faster. I mean, of course, you always want to have the right cards, but just having the same card twice, actually moving all your cards physically fast is also crucial, because a lot of people, like, they move kind of slow, so even if both players think for the same amount of time, if you just move a little bit faster, you're actually a bit faster. So especially for these decks that often go into timeout, just having a fast brain is actually quite important as well.
Yeah,
and you can see shuffling his hand cards.
Sander is very deliberately trying to kind of play fast. Oh, Mewtwo, that's fine.
Oh, that's fine.
You leave that. You take those.
I don't really think you need that.
Yeah, unless this Oranga gets extraordinarily aggressive with its profound knowledge, I don't think we're going to need this many Mewtwo's.
Yeah, and Girafarik hitting the bench.
The Sky Pillar.
Sky Pillar. I think it
all effects of attacks, including damage, to all of the Pokemon in play.
Yeah, so it's like a better Mew, but also it can get removed very easily. So definitely a cool card to include, especially since you can like prevent a lot of that. Like if your opponent can get off a cross divide, like we already started, sometimes it can just completely screw you over. Yeah,
that could be the whole game in just one cross divide, effectively. And now it's like, no.
Here it is, Mareep. Yeah. The very, very evil, fluffy pillow Pokemon.
I've also seen that they do life-size versions of the plush of this, which I kind of need.
Well, maybe if Sander wins from the prize money, he can get one of those and then use that as a fluffy pillow at home. But let's see if he will actually be able to win this game, since Tord has a lot of energy cards in play, which is exactly what he needs. But also, Sander's board game Sander's current board state not looking too amazing.
I mean, by this time,
can turn down
I think he had triple Pidgey last game and like 20 cards left in deck, if maybe probably less than that. So like, if he's in an ideal world, he's able to kind of get those setups. This is somewhere below that. Tord probably just going to turbo strike this turn. Probably, that's where the end of this turn goes. Exactly how he wants to get his hand there. I like benching the Espeon Deoxys because, like we said, he can't now can't lost zone it. So he's now able to take a KO, maybe with Cross Divide, because it's just not going anywhere. It may get stuck active, which is a concern, but also not a big problem because you can just use it to attack if you really need to. There's a lot of energy on this team.
All right, just another Solgaleo. Tord taking another prize card. Actually, currently a Cross Divide would not be enough. There is 10 too much HP in play.
Which is annoying.
So 210 HP currently on the Pokemon in play. But also, Sander has to keep this in mind. So now he can't bench any little basic guys.
Pidgeys.
Pidgey, oh yeah.
There are more pigeons here than there are in Trafalgar Square.
Oh yeah, I guess. So Sander now using his airmail. Like a Crushing Hammer now, like you really need to get rid of these energy, right? But also a single Crushing Hammer.
You kind of want to play all of your Crushing Hammers and then do it again. Yeah, and maybe again, just to make sure.
Like having 4 Crushing Hammer this turn, also flipping all of them heads, that would be a dream come true. But to be fair,
seems
really
unlikely.
Likely, yes.
Yeah, would be nice. As we see the. Is that a fan club? Yeah, it's a fan club.
Fan club, here it goes. Articuno, the hero of the hour.
Yeah.
If Tord is not able to draw his single switch,
which I think
he can't attack, but I actually think he has it in his hand.
I think he did.
Yeah,
he didn't detonate away earlier on, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, nothing. His hand didn't change from that point, so. Yes.
So as he gets underway with the Girafarig, active Articuno, its ability kicks in.
Yeah, the ability's so cool.
I love
really
these.
Like
Tapu Koko GX had the same kind of ability of like pull the energy, go active.
It's
exactly
so good. The same, but did you know that this Articuno is actually a reprint?
Yeah, the ability.
It's kind of not an actual reprint, but like a spiritual reprint of the old Articuno EX, which was very cool.
That was the lower case EX or uppercase EX?
The lowercase EX.
Yeah.
Like 2006, I think, 2005. Around that time, so the Articuno is still quite a strong Pokemon, but what makes this Articuno good is something the old didn't even have, is in GX attack, so Cold Crush GX. Oh, Crushing Hammer, it's not too important.
I mean, go on, get rid of my water energy. What do you want me to do about it? I'm fine.
Let's see, so Cold Crush GX, destroying all energy from the active, but I think
and they're gone.
Tord can win this turn, right? If he has Switch, Welder, Psychic.
Yes. I don't know if he has it, but he could. Oh, the Dedenne means it's likely. He has the Switch.
Well, he has Switch,
Does he have the Psychic? Because the Psychic's still in deck, which is the most worrying bit.
I mean,
and he has one attachment from Welder as well. I think he has a Welder there, but only the one attachment.
But I mean, one attachment should be fine. But even if he only gets the Switch, that's already enough. Like the Switch is pretty nice. And if he's able to take the knockout here, on the active Pokemon, I think, I don't know exactly what's in the prize cards, but he would just need the Reshiram Charizard or the other Charizard GX.
As tempting as that is, that can lose you the game because... Oh, no, it's fine because they've used the GX attack. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like
the combo's gone.
Usually, like going all in is kind of problematic because of Cold Crush, but Cold Crush is done, and then if you have 5 energy on your active Mewtwo and Mew, the Crushing Hammers don't really seem too important. And for Sander, he can't get Marip. Well, in theory, he can get Marip active, but for that, he would need to attach active, then he can't use resource management, and if Tord wakes up, he just loses immediately.
Yeah, it's very worrying times.
Well, so in theory, if Tord wants to go for it, he could
I think you have to here, right?
I'm not entirely sure. I'm not Tord. Like, don't ask me. I think I would.
I think you want to be all in here.
You definitely have to think about, well, when how do I have to commit like 100% all in? Like, do I have to go all in right now, or is there maybe, because like I said, if you can do Switch, and then even if you don't get the Psychic Energy and the Welder attachment, you can still do something else. So
I think you switch anyway.
Mind, like, what else can you say? But yeah, I would
you switch anyway, the Dene anyway, and see what happens then. Because I think
he does have Welder, and
does he have double attachment? He has one.
Let's see.
That's
let's
one.
see if he commits, because
I'm curious now.
Yeah.
This is actually a really interesting. Okay,
yeah,
so he's committing.
He goes for the bench. All right.
He's in.
Draw 3 cards. Psychic Energy. Let's. Oh.
Reset Snap's cute.
Reset Snap? Yeah, not too bad.
I can take that. Let's get rid of that hand.
He was like, how many hand cards? And Sander was like fanning, and he said, all right.
Yeah, that's
more
enough.
than yeah, and now his hand pretty stacked with Pokemon. He can use the switch. Let's see if he can get this Psychic Energy and
you
put
can see
this
him
into
going.
game 3.
This is talk going. Am I all in, or am I like mostly all in?
All right. I mean, like he can still use Charizard, so he can use the GX attack just to take a knockout, and then at some he just needs to attack next turn with whatever. But it would be a lot more stylish to just use Cross Division. Espeon Dirks is actually the playmat for the current event. So kind of a theme here going on, a lot of people just using that. So did it change?
Here it goes. All the attackers.
1 Psychic Energy card in the prize cards.
1,
is
3, 4, 5,
the last
6.
one here or not?
Yeah, yeah! He gets it. He gets it for the Cross Division GX.
Hell yeah!
We're all about that here. As we get
like,
to game 3.
No! So, sorry. So
as we get to game 3, huge turn, and that's what it needs to be, I think, for Tord here.
Yeah.
I think he was kind of all in anyway there. I think his hand wasn't really going anywhere. He may as well have committed and just hoped to find that energy.
Wait, what's going on?
I think they're just shuffling
Looks
up.
like okay, yeah. Maybe actually Tord. Well, let's just go on. So, looks like they're going into game 3. Tord drawing the Psychic Energy. Then, because the stadium was in play, right? But since start, he started with the Marshadow.
Yeah.
I thought like, yeah, Marshadow would probably be important to get rid of a power plant.
Yeah.
But no, it was important to get rid of the
Sky Pillar.
Sky Pillar.
There we go. I had to read your mind then. I was going deep into your mind.
Yeah,
I was like,
I know exactly what they look like, and I know exactly what they do, but I always forget the names.
Yeah. Well, it's a long weekend, and you've been playing cards with completely different looking letters on them for the last year and a bit.
And also, I was sometimes have the Pokemon, sometimes I have the German names.
Yeah.
But let's not talk about me. Let's talk about this game. We see the setup for the 3rd time. Tord this time running as hot as he needed to. Welder, Fire Energy cards, Psychic, Cross Division. Sander didn't really get to use too much of his stuff. I don't even think he used any power plant right now until now, right?
Not that I can think of.
I don't think
I've seen it.
I don't think he had any power plant in play yet, so that would have.
I think he's aware that Tord, but especially by this point, that Tord's playing quite a high count of counter stadiums. Like the stadiums themselves aren't particularly relevant. Giant Hearth has its places in this matchup, but the Lysander Labs really don't. I guess U-turn board is.
Well, I mean,
but and having access to this is very important, and just being able to kick the power plant is actually why they're there. Like, I don't think these are actually necessarily included for anything other than get rid of the power plants in most cases.
Yeah, I mean, the Giant Hearth very important with Welder, of course, and then also Lysander Labs can outplay a lot of different things.
Well, things like, so I actually had a chat with him about the Gardevoir matchup, because this is the other thing he could have been facing in the final. And he was like, well, that would have been okay, actually, because I can just Labs the first charm, and then you can also just use the Charizard GX, the Reshiram Charizard GX to get rid of the second one, and that's game. Easy. So he has ways through that matchup. But yeah, here mostly because it's like, nope, you're playing a power plant, get rid of your power plant. Though obviously, technically, Sander plays an infinite number of these because he can resource manage them back forever.
But also, using the power plant and then just getting back the power plant is kind of a risky route to take. And like we said, it's kind of hard to draw into the next. Like drawing into the same card you just put on the bottom of your deck is kind of. Well, I think this is kind of like the balancing factor of Oranguru. Yeah. Otherwise, it would be.
Yeah, if it went to like shuffle them in.
Well, shuffle in would be too strong.
Yeah, and I think it would be really hard to control that as well. But okay, as we get into game 3, double Welder, double Pidgeotto.
Yeah, also like Ditto Oranguru, Crushing Hammer.
There's a lot of relevant prizes.
The Tennis Search is priced again. I think it was already priced last game or the first game. But yeah, these prize cards are not really what you want to see. Really limiting, especially the 2 Pidgeotto. Now a maximum of Sander is 2 in the first and the in both games he had 3 in play at some point.
Yeah.
But now.
Yeah, now he's going to struggle. Yeah. Especially because there's also no first turn Elm. This is going to be a first turn fan club, which means it's going to be double Pidgey, which is still more pigeons than I want in my house. But, 2 Pidgeys as opposed to 3 is actually kind of a big deal. Because it actually means that, okay, like in the wheeled world where Toad can go attach, welder. I don't know if he's playing the 50 or the 60 HP Pidgeys. I can't remember the exact set number. But if he's playing the 50s, there's a weird world where if he double Pidgeys, it's Psychic Welder. Discard the thing, cross division, 2 Pidgeys gone. What are you going to do now? Like, you haven't got enough. But I don't think that's particularly likely here.
Yeah, so Sander checking his prize cards. It always takes some time, but you have to be quite quick. So he only checks for the most important stuff.
That dang sheep.
Here we see Mary putting you to sleep, but Todd only sees nightmares in this card. Always a 50% chance to attack every time Todd takes a knockout. Like in the very first game, it was really good that Sander started with it, but in the second game, it was actually not too great. Because he could not use it, he didn't have exit to it because it got knocked out quite fast. And also at the end, like the flip for the Mary on the second game was super important because Todd didn't have to use a switch.
So, yeah, it's kind of fine. Like the start, like the Marie not being the active, which is ideally what Sander wants, because like, right, cool, 50%. Like, every turn, 50%. Yes. On top of like the 20%, 30% you might have to hit your outs. It's like, well, let's halve that again. And it's a really kind of tricky card for.
Yeah, it's also super good because you can, with the U-turn board as well, you can just reuse it. It's like goes around every turn, just gives you that extra chance of disrupting your opponent, exactly what this deck needs. And now, Sander starting Pokemon, Articuno GX. Definitely not a Pokemon you want to start with. It's a super situational card. You only want to use it when you want to tag with it as well. But here it is.
He's actually playing 2 copies of it as well because prizing one is really bad because then you just can't get the combo. But also, if you do have to start it, you don't have to Guru for it at any point. You don't have to resource manage it back in. Because then it's awkward. You're not playing that much Pokemon Search, and if you are, you really want to be using them to get your Pidgeys and Pidgeotos out. So it's a really annoying card to have to find, so having 2 copies makes it a little bit more consistent.
That's actually what the fan club is pretty nice too. I think in the second game he also used the Pokemon fan club just to go into Articuno. But here, having it on your starting hand, not ideal, but it's better than nothing.
So we see Talk going, Shedinja, you're not taking prize cards, right? Cool, I don't need to reduce the number of prize cards you take by 1? Alright, that's fine. We're not taking this boy.
Just say bye-bye and then going into whatever he needs. I think he already had it then in his hand. So
I think so.
It's not actually too important. Marshadow in the second game was so important to have in play. And like we said, if it's on the bed, it's pretty much the exact same as having a Dedenne. Because it's just both are random Pokemon that your opponent might use a double catcher on to get active, but they both have only 1 retreat cost. So there's no difference. The moment you have a Dedenne in X, Marshadow is just, you can just bench it. But this way he prevents it to like drawing randomly into it with a reset stamp and then getting it knocked out with the Mars. It's quite unlikely, but why take the risk if you have the resources to play it safe here anyways.
Yeah. So Torch going, right, how many cards have you played? Am I gonna want to try and maybe stamp you early, like preemptively stamp you? Because you might have a fairly big hand, but if you played a lot of cards, I have less information about what's in that hand now, and I kind of want to disrupt it anyway, just in case. Like, I want to kind of get it out of the way of, well, just because you have a 5-card hand, I could put you to a 6-card hand because you didn't do much with it. Like, maybe sometimes you want to do that to kind of, like, guess at, like, maybe they have all the Pidgeys ready. Like, maybe this is why the hand seems slow, and they went for the double Pidgey. They're like, oh, I've got my Pidgeotos, it's fine. Weakness card for Toad. Weakness card energy.
Yeah, this is actually, that might be irrelevant if Sander gets his Faber, because Toad's hand's not looking too amazing, so.
Yeah. Cherish Ball, Hearth.
I think, yeah, he sent out the stag with Heart, but he just got the Water Energy.
Yeah.
Very unimportant in this matchup. You really want to have the Fire Energy. Water Energy is just like a random vanilla energy that you can attach by attacking with Solgaleo GX.
Yeah, in this matchup, the colors of the basic energy outside of the psychic one really do not matter. They're mostly
Well,
colorless costs.
Well, I mean, the fire energy is important because of Welder, and then also the psychic energy for your cross divide. And let's see if Sander actually, if he gets a crushing hammer heads here or the Faber. This is very annoying. But then on the other hand, like it's just an Articune active, so not too much happening.
And Toad's like, and yeah, okay, you can have a go now. I'm done. I've played a few cards. None of them were particularly helpful for me. Over to you. So we see the first Pidgeotto, the first Airmail, an Absol, card that we haven't seen played yet. Not really important unless Sander's looking to kind of stick mostly Jirachis, which aren't in this deck, but also can help later in the game if you want to try and basically stall them with energies. Like you know they've got enough energy gone that you can stick something with a. Like even the one retreat cost at Dedenne becomes awkward at 2. You have to Welder to retreat it, and that seems like a waste of a Welder 9 times out of 10. So, a card we haven't seen played yet in this matchup, but I think a very valid inclusion. Also very helpful in things like Manamar with all their Jirachis and just kind of sticking them in awkward positions. Cynthia, played by Sander.
Something we didn't see too much. Not a card you use too often. On the one hand, it allows you to shuffle your deck, and if it's on your starting hand, it's just pretty nice to have. It just gives you a new random hand. But at the late game, where your deck is kind of low, you don't really want to play it. But then, if you're already at that point, should be fine as well. And he can use the Cynthia now to find himself some more Pokemon to put on the bench, just going for Oranguru. Articuno still being stuck and no energy to attach. That's kind of annoying, but then also there's not too much being played yet, so using resource management not too important.
No, there's not many resources he needs to manage right now. He's kind of happy. The Pokemon communication.
Oh, Tate and Liza.
Tate's nice here. Get that Mareep into the active, make it a 50-50.
Exactly. So I like outplaying the need, bypassing the need for energy. Next turn he can use it, get Mareep active, put Mewtwo to sleep, retreat into Ranguru, and get this lock going. But the energy stuck active, which is very nice, and also Tor top decked. Quite lucky the Solgaleo.
He's like, oh, I need this.
You can just use your stadium, discard it, and then get going.
Yeah, already has the second one on the bench, make the attach. He kind of needs to get some more energy in the discard pile, really, though.
Well, if he wants to, he can use Dedenne.
Yeah, he could just Dead Day change here. He doesn't really mind, right? Like, he can Dead Day change them, get himself ready, and basically, again, get into the same position of having 2 big Mewtwo's ready, right? With enough energy on both Mewtwo's to threaten the cross divide, which we know is really how he's looking to win this game, or at least take firm control of the game, because he can take multiple prizes in one turn. But instead, you can see he's just double checking. He's like, hang on. I think this might actually be his first full search. I don't think he searched properly first turn.
Well,
so
he already used the.
Yeah, he's already searched. Yeah, so maybe he's just double checking.
But also, yeah, what I mentioned at the very, very beginning of the game when Tor didn't scoop, the time is already running really low. There are only 5 minutes left. And if it's timeout, this is a top cut game, there can't be any ties. So, yeah, that would mean the person who takes prize cards faster wins. So, very, very annoying for Sander. And I think that might actually be one of the reasons why he makes top cuts so often, but
can struggle to convert just because the rules.
Because the extra top cut rules are very annoying for him.
Yeah. I can see that. It's not so much that that's how the TPCI see the game being played as taking prizes. It's just how can you include stall in the how do you get them involved in that without and still not have games take 50 hours to complete like a top cup game.
It's a very very difficult trade-off.
You need to define something.
Using press cards is like a kind of a way to calculate that. This is probably fine. And Todd not going for the data change, doesn't want to discard all of his energy cards, just playing a little bit more conservative. Currently he knows there is no way for Sander to get Girafferic, so yeah, the energy, the Solgaleo will stay in the discard pile, and Sander is kind of under pressure now. Didn't play any Crushing Hammer yet, I think, at least didn't get any heads, as far as I'm concerned. Start now, well, only 3 energy cards in play, but that should be fine. Let's see how Sander tries to play around this.
Yeah, so Sander, a couple of AMLs. That's an Elm. Did he not take the Elm? He took the Pokegear?
Yeah, he did.
Okay. So oh, he wants to take Eliza this turn to put the 50-50 on the
I think
sleep.
you want to take Eliza anyways, and then you can use Mareep.
Yeah.
And yeah, again.
Yeah.
Putting your opponent to sleep. These kind of effects are actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
They come and go. This Mareep is very situational. Pretty much only be able to use in this turn, in this deck, and
get some value
from Tord. Then I should be very happy about this. But then also now the Oranguru is active, so once this Mewtwo wakes up, it's ready to attack.
Yep. It is ready. He can actually attach to the second one preemptively. Get it ready as well. He knows that chances are, if the Mewtwo wakes up, he hasn't seen any Crushing Hammers yet, but also with only access to one airmail at a time, it doesn't seem, it's not particularly likely Sander sees it anytime soon.
And also there's one of the press cards making it even less likely.
Yeah.
Tord just passing Flipping Taste again, oh boy.
Oh no. Tord, really wake up, man. Stop napping, now is not the time.
Yeah.
As we see an Elm for more Pidgeys, and this is where Sander's going to go. Yeah, I did count that right earlier, right? When all my Pidgeotos are prized. Oh dear.
Only going for 2. Now, Todd probably knows what's up because you really want to have the maximum amount of cards anyways. You're thinning out your deck. So if Todd is very attentive here, he should notice that, well, probably my opponent has a Ditto Prize and then 2 Pidgeots.
Yep.
But there wouldn't be bench space anyway, so not that it makes too much of a difference currently.
Yeah, he was like, wait, what did you take? Only the 2? Oh, hello. We're in here. We're like, you take out these Pidgeys, and what are you doing? And we actually, the other Oranguru is prized, which is actually a really big deal. So there's 4, so like one of them is prized, one of them is active. So there's actually a weird thing that Tord, in a weird world, could take enough KOs on the Orangurus if they're not resource managing one of them back every single time.
Well, yeah, in theory. But then even if Sander resource manages them back, there's just like one less card he gets. But, yeah, let's see where this is conspiring.
I think it was one of those. I didn't see the other.
I think
and is very, very quick with his airmail.
Yeah, he has to be.
This is like express service airmail. Like this is the kind of stuff I want my things delivered with.
Yeah. So usually in Germany the post isn't so fast, but Sander is doing his best.
But Sander's flying through.
He really needs to win here because if this goes,
we don't know. We do know. Tord shook his head. He was not happy about that at all. That's basically 2 turns that he's bought by just going.
Yeah.
Tate and Liza, Mareep.
Well, there is not
Fluffy
even
Pillow.
a Darkrai in play. Why is this Mewtwo waking up? But
Stamp.
we see a reset stamp, kind of limiting a little bit of Sander. He thinned out his deck a little bit. He used a bunch of airmails, so reset stamp is always kind of important. And the very few turns for Tord are very important.
Yeah, I think this turn Tord is quite happy to maybe try and dig a little,
yes.
And try and find his one-off switch.
But I mean, like, on the one hand, of course, it's very annoying that he doesn't wake up, but it's not too bad. It could be a lot worse since Sander didn't use any resource management.
He hasn't capitalized on it.
He basically got a free resource management out of that, and he hasn't used any Crushing Hammers yet. So for Tord, it's actually not too bad, I think.
Yeah, I mean, what you're really looking here with these sleep flips is to buy time to disrupt in other ways. The sleep flips are kind of just a helpful tool to get to those and to get to the disruption tools, but if nothing's ever actually happening with those flips, it's fine because, cool, you're not waking up, but the energy's stuck. The board didn't change. There appears to be a small moment of confusion.
No, there is timeout.
Oh yes, okay, so
Tord is now turn 0. He has a switch in his hand. Oh, he has a switch in his hand. So
it's like I'm taking a prize card. I'm gonna get a prize lead.
Yeah, he can just use switch. Solgaleo take a prize card. Probably the best play here, to be honest. But let's see. Tord really needs to make sure to wrap this up perfectly.
Yep. I'm just gonna quickly look at Sander's list, which is next to me, and I don't see anything in here that's taking a prize card quickly.
No, the only way, I'm pretty sure the only way for him is to use Profound Knowledge. So Sander really needs to hope that Tord can't take any prize card. But Sneaky Tord already showed to his opponent that he has.
It's like, you know, I got this, right?
But Sander wants to play this out. Let's see how this is going.
Yeah. So we see the Welder 2.
Yeah, he can even use the Charizard attack, but
he can get all the way in on it. On the Welder. He's got the switch available, so he can take the KO, take a 1 prize lead, which at this point starts to look important. So correct me, does it go to prize lead as the tiebreak first? Does it go to prize lead first as the tiebreak?
Yeah, no, like when the extra turns are over, you continue to play until
someone takes a prize.
There is a difference in prize cards.
Okay. And so if there is already a difference in prize cards.
Yeah, if there is already a difference in prize cards, the game ends right there. That's at least what I think. Maybe.
I haven't read the rulebook, that bit of the rulebook, in a while. I should probably. It always happens every single tournament. I blame Sander. I'm going to be honest. It's mostly when I cast his games.
No, let's see how this is going now. So maybe there is actually a way for Sander to do something.
Okay.
Actually, Tord pretty smart. He discarded the. Mars Shadow because that was the biggest opening for Sander to play like a double custom catcher, maybe reset stamp into a very unfortunate hand for Tord.
Tord shuffles his rather sizable hand.
Mars
it's a welder.
Snacking the welder using. So now we see Acrobat coming down. Shit Trip X. If this game would have been a little bit longer, maybe.
You can see Sander going, I don't know how do I take the prize cards? Go to sleep.
Yeah.
Take a nap. I'll think about it while you sleep.
But well, Sander he can only attach one energy at a time, right? So
yeah, that's true.
Too much. In a normal game, you would now probably even attack with Articuno.
Yeah, you just take whatever you can, right, and just try and get some prizes down. But yeah, I think you maybe just GX attack by a turn, an extra turn or so, and just
Articuno, even if it would have enough energy, it only deals 130 damage, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is nowhere near enough. And the head flip.
Well, I mean, no, it's not. I mean,
it's not important. It's not so important.
He can use a welder.
You can weld it to retreat. Pass.
Tord's
just like
very confident that he got this game, and here
Tord wins.
This is amazing. Tord Reklev
has won his first regional,
and it's also the biggest regional. Maybe there's like a threshold of
number of players.
Yeah, exactly. Like he can only win tournaments if there are a certain amount of players. So very excited to see here. Biggest regional championship we had in Europe so far, won by the legendary Tord Reklev.
And we'll be back in a moment for a little interview. Of course, we have to. It's Tord.
I mean,
people. We're not. But before we do, this might have been the biggest regional so far. But there's another one coming up.
Really?
There is another Jokkmokk regional.
I remember.
And registration is open. It's in Bochum in a couple of months' time. But realistically, not far from where we currently are, but kind of a little bit, a couple of hours away.
Bochum is in North Rhine-Westphalia, so it's the same state.
Yeah.
So if you consider coming, there are a lot of close by airports you can go to.
It's a really nice place, but you can register now. I think we actually have a ! Register command, so if you guys, like European players, or worldwide, let's go international with this. We want to go worldwide, just turn up. Registration is now open, so we're going to take a very quick break, and then we'll have a quick interview with the winner, Mr. Tord Reklev.
Hello back, everyone. I'm here with Tord Reklev. Congratulations on this win. What an amazing game.
Actually, yes. That was crazy. Finally, I have a regional win, like, in this new era.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, like, how many regionals did you win yet?
Like, back in the days, I have a ton of them, but, like, this new era, no, I don't have any. Last time I was close, I lost in the finals to Mark in Bremen, I think.
Yeah, I remember that.
This was actually really crazy.
So high stakes for you, even though we were joking that this is the biggest regional championship in Europe so far. So maybe there is like a limit, like you can only win regionals if there's so many people. That's why you're so good at internationals, because there are always so many people there as well.
Maybe have like a minimum limit to be able to do good. Maybe that's something.
All right, so the very last game. I think you weren't too sure about how the matchup runs or what to do. How did you How did it feel like?
All right. So the game plan going in was actually what I was able to do game 2. Game 1, he flipped way too many heads and crushing hammers, and I fell asleep and could wake up. So I felt that coins were just against me that game, and it was just pulled way too far ahead. And like with the last couple heads, I had like no chance of getting there. So just conceded. Tried to see if we could finish a game 2.
Yeah.
And game 2, I managed to do the actual game plan. We'll do Turbo Strike 3 times, other charge up, big guy on the bench, and then you go SP on the Oxys GX attack to take the last 3 prizes, and
that
just
worked
knock out all
fine,
the birds.
right?
So instead of like crippling a setup and doing it early, you do it so he can't stamp you to death.
Oh yeah,
because if you do it early, you go down to like 1 or 2, right? Like or both, like 2 and 1, since you need to go the whole way. And then he can just stamp just James, chip whatever, power plant, and you're just out, right? So that was the plan, and it worked out game 2. But I was really lucky though. I needed Switch, Welder, last psychic energy because other
the psychic energy was
so
priced, right?
Yeah, and I only played 2. I was kind of iffy.
We were sitting there like, all right, like he can just go in, right? Like he just did Dennis and tried to get everything, but only 1 psychic energy worked out really well for you. So that Mary, I think you know he played it, right?
Yeah.
So
I fell asleep a lot.
Yeah, I saw that. I was actually thinking like he started with it game 1, and that was very important for him because he prevented you from attacking. But then game 2, because he started with it and you woke up on the 1 flip when the Mars Shadow was active, you could just knock it out and then it was gone. So did it? What do you think is better, if he uses it early or if it's just like Pokemon?
I mean, it felt very nice to just get rid of it, right? Flipping heads, but him opening it definitely feels like the best for him, because he gets like a 50-50, you just get a free turn. And me only playing 1 switch, I don't really want to waste it that early, right? So yeah, I was just lucky to wake up and knock it out, so didn't have to deal with that for a couple turns. And so as you can see, the matchup was pretty fast paced. He either wins when I just stop up, or I just win in like 4 or 5 turns.
Yeah, at some point you have so many energy cards that even if he draws like 4 Crushing Hammer, flips heads on all of them, you can still just attack, and that's not a big deal.
Also, like game 2, he flipped heads on Crushing Hammer on the bench. I had to find the welder as well. If he flipped tails, the psychic energy would be much easier to get because I could just not play welder, just the Dene, and hit reds as well.
Oh yeah, true.
So I would have more outs. But since he went for it, I don't know. I was kind of stressed in the situation, but it was so tempting to try to find the win. Like, I have the win, I have the switch, right? I just need to find the psychic. So the backup plan was just try to find the stamp if I didn't find the win, and just stamp him, and then copy Charizard to take the knockout and Articuno, take 2 prizes, because I would have the Mars Shadow as an out to power plant for the last prize as well.
Yeah, speaking of stamps, like you reset stamp to him quite often. Often it was just like you had to Dene and then you were like, just reset stamp.
Oh yeah, normally you kind of want to save them, so you can't just do a massive combo on you with Articuno, stamp, Jesse, everything, right? So to try to prevent that, you stamp him, but sometimes when you have to Dene, like, okay, I have a big hand, I might as well just do it before the Dene, right?
Yeah, so actually, Sandro said there was like some kind of rivalry with you two because you really don't like stall.
Yeah, I don't. So normally when I build decks, I try to make them kind of greedy in a way that I don't want to lose to a deck that don't attack me, because like those decks have always existed almost. So I just always fear to run into them. So normally I like to lessen my power level just to be able to beat that deck as well, because I just really hate losing to stall. So at least I won't have a fighting chance against it.
Today there was like no special tech in your deck, right? Like there was not a single card that you just put in against stall.
Nah, not too much really. I was just playing. We played double Silver. I was like kinda attack against stall because you can gear fire one of them, then you kinda lost.
Yeah.
But if you can discard a second one, knock it out, then it will use too long time to discard it before it's relevant again.
Yeah.
So.
I don't think Senna did he use any power plants against you?
I can't remember if he actually got any.
I don't think he did any because
got like 1 maybe. Yeah. I don't know. Wasn't relevant because I kicked him.
Yeah, like you only needed to kick the Sky Pillar.
Oh yeah, he had the Sky Pillar.
I actually forgot about that. If I would have been your choice, I would probably take into it. But
yeah, I know he was like hoping for me to do it because it's so easy to like make the mistake. But I was aware all the time. I promise.
Okay.
I was like, okay, I'll just save it. If we win, if we don't, we save the Mars Shadow.
Yeah.
Like leave the stadium there.
How do you think about like the Oranguru pitch auto deck and the current format in general? I mean, I don't think you would recommend it to anyone, but do you think it's strong, or is it like a...
I mean,
it's only because Sander and he's a stall god.
He is a stall god for sure. I mean, control is always good because people normally don't know how to play against it because it has a whole different game plan, and many people get upset because they can't execute what they want to do normally. So, like, you have to find a new plan, and it's usually really awkward and it doesn't feel good, but you just have to do it anyway. So I don't know, it kind of tilts people and make people play suboptimal, so you get a lot of wins just because people are not playing too great against it, and because it's hard to play against.
Yeah, I know. Like stall, it's... And also you don't want to test because it takes so much time.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's another aspect.
I remember like when Wailot was hyped, and then everyone was like, "Oh, like how do you win against Wailot?" But no one wanted to test with you. They were like, "I'm not wasting my time for that."
Yeah, exactly. Like normally you just do the stall matchup. You do it in theory. Like, okay, he has all these combo cards. I hold all these. Okay, well, how does the matchup against each other? I guess it's okay. Then you just slam that in.
So your deck, like you won a regional with it now, but your sale was like kind of at the beginning phase. Is there something, so for the people who net deck your deck now, what would you change?
I mean, I think the concept is really good, guys, but I think we can work on the list a little. I had a crazy good record this regionals though, so there's definitely something there, but I'm probably gonna change a couple cards. Not sure what yet, because I actually used all of them to great effect actually. Especially when I played against Malamar, I finally got to use all my energies and my 2 labs, and not a one without them, so that was definitely great.
Do you think you won most games because your deck was really good, or were there some games that you were just like, well, my opponent doesn't really know what I'm playing, so they
that also helps a lot, like opponent playing into the wrong attacks and stuff. Even though I didn't play too many crazy GXs that are not normally seen. I played the Greninja. He still didn't do anything of relevance, by the way, the whole weekend. But if I did face a Keldeo, he would be really good. So I don't know.
All right.
You can cut him if you don't expect to see double Keldeo in play. But personally, I hate losing to those kind of things, so I'll keep it.
So I'm very happy to give you your trophy for the very first Cash Era Regional Championship you won. I think they actually look like the old Regional Championship as well.
They actually
so
do. Just
probably you already have this one, but. Here you go.
Oh, perfect. That's awesome.
You also have a wrapping paper to not break it.
Awesome.
Do you want to shout out someone? Special thanks?
Shout out to all friends and family. Shout out Limitless for the stream.
Thank you very much.
Awesome as always. Shout out 8-Bit Planet, my sponsor Tom. He's a great guy. And yeah, people traveling with me. Lidra and Andreas. Yeah. I think that's it.
All right, so let's wrap things up here. We wrote history, Todd with his first regional championship win in this new era. Also, biggest regional championship in Europe so far. Also, a very good stream for us. Thank you a lot, for everyone, for watching. Thank you to our sponsors as well for supporting the stream. I'm really looking forward for the next regional championship. So I'll just say, see you in Bochum.